Greetings, comrades. It is now an hour later than my first attempt at an introduction, but I had not effectuated an appropriate stereotype to be permitted to upload the message to the people. My name's Charity Colleen Krause. I used to go by Charity Krause. 1997, I was elected to the National Political Committee of the Democratic Socialists of America. I was under the age of 21 when I first started my role as a member of the National Political Committee of the Democratic Socialists of America. I was gainfully employed as a newspaper journalist and later editor. I spent one term, which was 2 years, in political leadership for the Democratic Socialists of America. Be mindful, Democratic Socialists of America is also a nonprofit organization, meaning the National Political Committee members are also technically the board of directors of the nonprofit, and hence fiduciarily responsible as the boards of directors of any nonprofit are for the activities of the organization. Apparently, my last message was too long. America is not supposed to have an attention span of longer than what? 5 minutes? 10 minutes? Is that what our social affliction has cost us in the intervening 20 years? See, in 2017, exactly 20 years after I was serving on the National Political Committee of an independent political organization, I was admitted to the Neuropsychiatric Center in Houston, Texas, allegedly as somebody under mental health crisis, or rather, somebody that had dared to try to politically organize with women in a domestic violence shelter to inform them of their rights in the face of people trying to force them to drug their children in order to keep custody of them and subject them to electronic weapons testing that was proven over the course of the next 3 years while I was denied any legal representation or even a means by which to provide for my own well being. I've made exactly, I've made less than $10 of reported income since I was kidnapped under the auspices of mental health treatment. That was the second time in 10 years that I was kidnapped and designated with a mental health illness, even though at the moment I intersected with the alleged practitioners of healthcare treatment. I told them that I understood I was being subjected to vibrational technologies that were trying to implant subconscious or unconscious messaging to try to get me to agree to commit crimes or agree that I had already committed crimes. I now understand that these kinds of vibrational technologies are also used in directed energy weapons and have been applied within this country by people that have targeted political leadership that was in opposition to their political aims. Their political aims include genetic engineering, and they include an outroll of a digital economy that is engaged in processes of financialization of children in ways that are not only completely unacceptable, but that constitute violations of international law as well as the Constitution of the United States of America. I'm just going to start this off because they want to keep me on a time frame. Just so you know, there's nothing socialist about breaking down your own people, telling them they're sick, and then miring them in illegal debt under the auspices of Medicare for All or any kind of healthcare program. Healthcare is a human right, but it's also a human right to own the means of your own production. That includes your intellectual production. And when you refuse to vote for somebody because you have evidence that they're part of organized criminal activity, and then they try to say that you are somehow disabled so that they can obligate you to illegal debt, you need to understand the material conditions of the moment wherein this is happening. The material preconditions for a socialist society involve democratic participation in decisions affecting your society and your positioning in society. Self-determination is essential. Trying to obligate people to pay for a process whereby charlatans and opportunists have engaged in an intentional policy to privatize certain aspects of the federal government as kickbacks to their campaign funders, and then absorb failing private industry into a nexus of national debt they intend for us to pay for. It's nothing close to socialism. There's a former Supreme Court justice that I will not name at the moment who describes such a thing as a violent junta. That's exactly what this is. Attempting to overthrow the democratic government of the United States is sedition. It's illegal for a reason.